Oftentimes we are dealing with children that are in a very vulnerable position. So what we typically do is provide food services through the student nutrition program. And we're serving over 20,000 children through that program. So that was our main concern as we heard about a pandemic, was how are we going to be able to still provide food and nutrients to these children? A lot of our children are serviced through the Children's Foundation through schools. Food insecurity was going to be a large issue. Is we found a few community partners like Market Fresh and Freshie and Hope House. They do the grocery shopping, ensuring that it's filled with lots of nutritious food. And then we were able to actually, through the help of volunteer drivers, do a contactless delivery to our families. See a lot of stories in the news right now that, for instance, a local nonprofit, The Seed, has partnered with the University of Guelph, and they're aiming to get over 50,000 meals out every single week. Hope House has partnered with Linamar to be able to continue their grocery donations. So we're seeing a lot of collaboration and a lot of partnerships that typically wouldn't have happened. So that's the silver lining of this situation. I think that this situation has really forced nonprofits to think a little bit differently, and rather than being insular, really opening up to different possibilities, is that we're going to look at our partnerships a lot differently. I heard a really great quote, actually, that character is not being built right now, it's being shown. And I think that is such the case for the nonprofit world, that we are all being able to lean on each other. Let's be kind, let's be patient, and let's be generous where we can.
Yeah, so for our folks, of course, the biggest challenge is stigma in the community and in the world, and having the population not understand what HIV. We also have folks who can't access housing, food, employment, and now with COVID-19, we've got a really big issue on our hand, that they're immunocompromised. They don't have the same immune system as you and I to be able to fight off COVID-19. So if they contract that virus, it could be deadly. We're trying to keep our patients safe. Any non-urgent appointments are done virtually through Ontario Telemedicine Network. Anybody who doesn't have access to a computer or internet, so we're trying to do appointments that are non-urgent, even over telephone. And of course, we're still seeing folks who have urgent issues. We've developed a food hamper program, and we're delivering those right to their door, so that we just don't want them to leave their houses. We want them to stay in and be safe. So I think that what we're seeing, everybody is just banding together. We've got a lot of local agencies who are working together. Arch Clinic has put it out there that we will take on STI testing. So anyone who needs that in the community, we will definitely be available for that. We partner together with Public Health, Sanguine Health Center, and the Community Health Center, or CHC, downtown. So they do all kinds of things. They hand out food, they hand out harm reduction supplies. They get to the people who most need those services. I guess the learning is that we can collaborate and put together more programming that people can access. Please stay home. Stay home. We're doing an amazing job. We are rocking the lockdown.
Interesting. We're an environmental services firm, and our client base is entirely First Nation, Inuit, and Métis communities. We're used to dealing with pretty challenging situations. One of the first problems we saw with COVID-19 was we weren't really sure how our various clients were going to manage through the crisis. I took on the challenge. I said, I'm going to see if I can get you guys some hand sanitizer. So I ended up on the phone with somebody from Diageo at the same day that company announced that they're going to be releasing really large quantities of pure alcohol into the world. The guy I was on the phone with said, look, I can get you some pure alcohol if you can make a connection to a local distillery. Yeah, I can take 20,000 liters. And quite quickly, I realized I had the opportunity to scale this to service at least 100 communities and maybe more. The first distillery we worked with is a small one in Elmira called Murphy's Law. And Murphy's was able to process some of that. Spring Mill Distillery here in Guelph was able to process some of it. And this last week, we shipped 6,500 liters of hand sanitizer, and all of this directed to the frontline workers in these communities. One of the distillers said, look, there's a big need for hand sanitizer at Guelph General, and Spring Mill produced, I think it was 2,000 liters, and recently dropped them off at Guelph General. And the group that we worked with in Kitchener-Waterloo is called COVID Health, which was formed by a local physician and her husband. And then they kind of grew this network of people coming together to make various supply chains work for both hand sanitizer and personal protective equipment. Like we're able to serve local needs and able to service needs far beyond where we live. The level of cooperation I've experienced with this little project that kind of grew and grew and grew is really amazing. I like to believe it's part of human nature. We're problem solvers. One person can't solve a wicked problem. You have to have armies of people coming together that all have various parts to play in solving a problem. We've seen in this kind of crazy hand sanitizer supply chain that's been created, the right people come together and you can make miracles happen.
From an individual level, it's been phenomenal. You know, right away, I think of somebody, his name is Abby, and somebody else from the University of Guelph, and I forget her name, my apologies, but they started a website, guelphcoronavirus.ca, central place to land for volunteerism, where people are needing things and ideas to keep positivity within our community. I see also individuals that have been very entrepreneurial. For instance, the Guelph Box as an example, which is a young lady and her boyfriend started thinking, how can we help people adhere to the physical distancing rules, but also support the local economy? And then I look at sort of bigger businesses like the Linamars or Ideal Brake Pads or Danby and things like that, retooling and rethinking and re-engineering themselves for not just Guelph, but for the greater good of the entire country. We've just seen it all, from individuals, from business owners, large, small. It's been phenomenal. It shows the cross-section of Guelph and how people are responding in such a positive way. I have to give credit right out of the gate here to the local agencies that, are living and breathing and working with our most vulnerable people within our city. They banded together immediately. Every single homeless person, between 75 to 100 that we have locally, are now in a hotel room. Resources from a staffing perspective are on site. It's interesting how a virus has, kicked everyone's collective butts. So I'm hoping that coming actually out of this situation, that there can be a lot of lessons learned. A roof over someone's head completely changes their trajectory. It seems to be happening now, and I certainly hope it doesn't actually stop after we're over the COVID-19 crisis. Looking ahead to support people, whether it's agencies where you want to buy some food for the food bank or Hope House or the drop-in center, things like that, or whether it's helping people out with supporting local businesses, the future is literally now. So if you can, buy some cereal or some canned goods and donate it now, do it. If you're in a position where you can help support local businesses, do it now. So phase one is sort of what we're experiencing right now. Phase two is how do we release the economy and start to open things back up? And I think it will start to frustrate some people. So over the last couple of days, I've been asking people, if you've been giving us an extension of grace and patience over the last month, we need you to double that. We're going to be, I think, stronger coming out of it. If anyone wants to get a hold of me, I'm more than happy to answer as best as I can. And they can get a hold of me online by emailing mayor@guelph.ca, or they can go to on social media, on Twitter, it's @Cam Guthrie, and on Facebook, it's Mayor Cam Guthrie.